Okay, Brian, we're going to take a look at your week 5 assignment 3 drawing here. I think that color-wise and detail-wise they're moving along well. Texturally, what's in place I think is a little bit mixed. I think the road is working out fine. I think that the wood texture that you have for the doors is fine, although I would, before it's all over, just go back in with a very light, maybe yellow or brown, and just kind of do one quick overlay of it so that where there areas of white actually get filled in with color. It's going to separate the door a little bit more and make it feel a little bit more solid. I'm not sure about the texture under the roof, and I think that it's really, for me, confusing. Maybe you're trying to erase something or eliminate something, but I think you have to go back in and make sure that the roof is nice and kind of clean. If it's more of a house that's being kind of run down and things are falling apart, I think that needs to be a little bit clearer. Right now what it looks like is you've tried to go in and erase or kind of eliminate something that was there, so you'll have to go back in. I'd rather just go back in with a kind of a clean black or dark gray and just kind of finish off the roof so that it's nice and clean and clear. I still think that this guy feels a little bit small in comparison to this house. Again, I think the doorway that we're seeing, if we take a measurement of it, it's this high. You can see that when we bring it over to the other door, it's actually smaller than the other door, even though it's closer to the viewer. So this should be just bigger in general than this, so there's definite proportion issues going on. I'm not quite sure of where the lighting situation is coming from, so I would assume that's going to be dealt with at some point, but you'll want to try to keep it as consistent as you can. If it's probably the sun that's going to be the one light source, so if the sun is over here, you're going to have a shadowed side to this house, and there'll be a cast shadow that's moving in this direction. And you'll have a much darker side here on this house, and we probably don't have to deal with any cast shadows there. The biggest issue for me is that when we're trying to deal with the process that we dealt with in week 4, one of the big things about the process is trying to deal with everything kind of at the same time, so that as the drawing kind of builds, everything is being built together, so there's a nice kind of sense of unity with everything. Everything feels like it fits together. For me, I think the biggest issue from my standpoint is I don't really have any idea what's going to happen for this background, and something needs to happen in this background. And you've got a lot of space to cover, not just kind of on the ground plane, which I think is probably going to be the most challenging, because you're going to have some amount of color and texture here, but you can't have it interfering with like the telephone poles. You don't want the telephone poles to kind of get lost in a lot of texture. So you're going to have to figure out something to do with that. But then you also have kind of the sky or whatever's above the horizon line, and so that also creates a little bit, for me at least, an issue, because I wonder how it's all going to work. Color-wise, is it going to work with what you have in place now? Compositionally, is it, how you render it depends on how much detail you put into it, the color choices that you make. It might be overpowering, maybe it confuses things. So this is one of the reasons why you want to work on kind of everything at once. Lay in kind of the lighter values, block in some of your basic colors, but you're doing it to all the elements, and then you're slowly kind of building more detail, darker valued colors, cast shadows, and that sort of stuff. So for me, the problem for me is that it's just a little bit right now too up in the air. I just don't have enough information to give you any pointers or to caution you against something, because you just have so much left to kind of have to do. I think you still have some of those proportion issues. I think texturally it's coming along well. I think consistency-wise, like I said, there's some areas where I'm just not sure of. And color-wise and value-wise, I think that's going to have to get pushed, but that's probably going to have to wait till later. This is not, I'm just a little bit worried because I can't give you any more feedback till the final unless you turn something in for a draft. And so I feel like you're kind of stuck with just having to go at it with not as much input as I would like, and hopefully you'll think of something.